Look, I can't help but that now might be a good time for a little fire and ice. These
Oh,
do not know.
there's never a good time for fire and ice.
What happens when you mix fire and ice?
Warm water, baby.
It's bubbling, baby. Warm water. Warm water.
It is time for a little fire and ice. Mike Tipton, Brandon the Iceman Cone, hanging out with you here on a Saturday afternoon. A little bit later on today's show, we're going to have former NBA player, three-time champion, the one and only, the big man, number 34 for the Chicago Bulls back in the day, Bill Wennington, is going to join us to talk about the NBA Finals, everything we've got going on with that. The Denver Nuggets with a 3-1 lead. That's a commanding 3-1 lead. What can Miami do to bounce back? Can they even bounce back? And, of course, what Denver has to do in order to shut the whole thing down and win their first ever championship. Obviously, we got a lot of stuff going on as well in some of the other sports. The Yankees utterly dominating until last week, or until yesterday, as a matter of fact, whenever the Red Sox got their first win in 6 games. Let's talk about Shohei Ohtani. Let's talk about Mike Trout. I am all about Major League Baseball right now.
Sure.
But, Brandon, where I want to get started is I want to give a thank you to our friends over here at Union Draft House, 730 Sunland Park Drive in the parking lot of Sunland Park Mall. They've got all of the amazing NBA Finals games. They haven't really been amazing. I think one game's been good.
One game was good. Yeah, the rest of them have been
it hasn't been good.
Denver.
But they're showing all those games. They're showing the fights. They're showing everything that we've got in the world of sports. Of course, they've got collegiate track and field going on. They've got collegiate baseball with Duke taking on Virginia, and old NFL games with what looks like the Seahawks and the Chargers. So obviously all your sports stuff happening over here at Union Draft House. They've got the 100 Beer Challenge. I want to give a shout out to our birthday waitress, Raina. She's coming over. She's taking care of us. She's always doing an amazing job hooking us up with everything that we ask her to here at Union Draft House. Brandon.
Yes, sir.
It's been a month of Sundays.
It has.
Since we've been able to do a show.
Literally a month of Sundays.
The end of the school year, always a busy time for my guy.
Yes, sir.
Always a lot of stuff going on. And Brandon has been nice enough today to actually help us with the broadcast. He's going to be the play-by-play guy. You're going to have a buddy come out and join you. What was his name again?
Yeah, Mr. Richard Oliva is coming and doing some color analyst there. He's a good man. He's been helping for a long time. And
he's a mensch.
He is a real mensch. And certainly going to pick him up, and then we're going to schlep over to Andrus, and we're extremely excited about this Sun City Stealth broadcast. It's a huge game. If they win, they are going to host a playoff game. So we're hoping that they get the W tonight. And you noted, the last home game last Saturday, big crowd. And I haven't called a game in a while with you, so I know I'm looking forward to doing some play-by. I mean, my first time doing play-by for one of these games.
And I'm looking forward to listening to it whenever I get an opportunity. I am going to be going to my nephew's graduation, graduating from America's High School. Then he's going to be leaving us, going to Dallas to go to UT Arlington out over there. So congrats to my nephew, Julian. And obviously I got to give a little bit of love to my kids, Jericho and Jinder. They had their ceremonies this week. It's been a great time. You know me, dude. Like, I'm all about like the family stuff. So whenever I got to like go to those events, it was just awesome seeing my kids like walk across the stage. I didn't get to send you the pictures. I'll send you some pictures and you tell me that Jericho doesn't look just like me. But obviously exponentially cuter.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's
like,
a lot cuter than you are.
I mean, who isn't?
Well, then again, that's you don't make it very much of a contest. But anyway. But no, I mean, I saw Destiny posted something. Congratulations to Jericho and Jinder, and they're both my little buddies. What a great little accomplishment! And I tell you what, those are great boys. They're as good as they get. So I know you're a proud dad.
In a few minutes, Bill Wennington is going to join us here on Fire and Ice. Brandon, what have been your thoughts on the NBA Finals right now? Because going into the NBA Finals, I'm getting messages from people. You know, I got to text them back. I'm answering stuff on Twitter and whatnot. And I said, if this series goes 6 games, I'd be surprised because Denver is just so much more overwhelming. Yeah. And they just have more size than Miami. What were your thoughts going into this NBA Finals?
I mean, going into it, I figured, hey, that it'd be a nice Cinderella story if Miami could pull it off. I knew they had an opportunity, clearly, because they had beaten Boston in 7 games in Boston, which is no easy feat, especially after getting beaten the previous year in the conference finals. But I also, kind of knew where the limitations were dealing with the Denver team that's really one of the better teams we've seen in a long time. And I mean, look, it's whenever you have a Jokic, it makes it extremely challenging to defeat that team. And that guy is as good of a big man, a dominant big man that we've seen in ages in the NBA. And all I have to say is at this point, unfortunately, the one word I could use to describe the series is anticlimactic. I mean, except for game 2,
I do want to say hi to our waitress once again, Reina. I would like to once again get my beers as I try to do this 100 beer. It's been a month and I have zero progress on any of the stuff that's going on here. Reina, if you would be so kind to just maybe tell us about some of the specials. If you want to get on the camera, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, you want me to move over here?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't want
here,
you
I'll
to
have
hear
her
me.
sit down.
Yeah.
Sit down, young lady. You're the birthday girl.
Oh, yeah.
Here you go.
Okay.
She's so excited to talk about her birthday. You can tell right there. Okay, Reina. So what type of deals and stuff do we have going on for us over here at Union Draft House this weekend?
Okay, so this weekend, today, Saturday, we have our $2 Build Your Own Pizza from 11 to 4. And then we do have our sours and ciders for $4.
Cider Day, get them ciders and all that stuff. Now tell me a little bit about the 100 beer thing that we've got going on here, the Century Beer Club.
Yes, so the Century Beer Club program thing that we have, so as soon as you finish all like the 100 beers, trying all of them, you get a coin. And once you get the coin, you get 10% off every time you come in.
I mean, you can't beat that 10% off. I am laboring through this because it's been a whole month since I've been here.
Definitely.
Maybe longer than a month since I've been here.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I
Since,
haven't seen you guys
since
in a while.
well, no, it was since what, late April, I think?
Yeah.
When we had Big George on?
In the words of Stained, it's been a while.
She
She has no idea what I'm talking about. Right. She's like, you effing
It's been a
old
while.
guys.
I love that track,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Right, Reina, thank you so much for joining us, telling us about the specials. Get your ass on out here to Union Draft House. Help her celebrate her birthday as well. It's basically a whole month of birthday celebrations,
Yeah,
right?
pretty much.
Hey, there we go.
Pretty
That's the
much.
only way to do it. All right, Reina, thank you so
Happy
much.
birthday.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to sing happy birthday.
I'm not going to try it either.
That.
Please don't sing her happy birthday.
That's going to be a nightmare.
Don't do your happy birthday, Mr. President thing. That would be
Well,
terrible.
no, I saved that for you.
No,
That's strictly for you, Brandon.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, if I can get whatever beer number 20 is, I will do that. Yes. And
As
thank
long
you
as
so
it's
much.
not root beer.
Well, I mean, we already got past the root beer thing, which
That
I
was the
thought
funniest thing I've ever seen.
I remember
in my
taking a
life,
drink
dude.
out of that, like, wait, what?
I think this is root beer. He's like, you asked me, do you like root beer? I'm like, well, yeah, once in a blue moon. Well, there you go. I'm
Well,
like,
here. You get to finish this for me.
yeah, it was the only beer that I actually liked.
With all the things I've put in my body, that's the worst.
Yeah, I bet. That's not saying much. Okay,
Wow.
anyways.
You're just coming after me today. Like, what did I do to you, Brandon?
Oh, well, you'll get me back. You always do.
Oh, I know I will. I'm just waiting for Bill Wennington.
Oh, gosh, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm like,
All right, so we'll talk more about the NBA Finals whenever Bill joins us here on Fire and Ice in about 5 minutes or so. I wanted to talk to you about the Stanley Cup playoffs.
yes.
Right, because how awesome is it for South Florida where you have the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals and then you have the Florida Panthers over in, once again, Miami in the Stanley Cup Final, but they're both seemingly just getting slapped around by teams that are bigger and more physical than them. The Florida Panthers just seemingly outmatched by the Vegas Golden Knights.
Mm-hmm.
Has that been fun for you? Because I'm a Golden Knights fan.
Yeah.
Franchise since day one type fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what I'm seeing. Has it been something fun for you, or you just kind of checked out on the Stanley Cup because you don't have those high caliber historic names in the Stanley Cup Final?
I've always had the sentimental of, I guess you'd say, the Golden Knights, just because it's Vegas's hockey team. I mean, the first professional team ever in Las Vegas. They had that great storied first year where they made the Stanley Cup Final and lost. And they've been a great franchise so far in their existence and their brief existence. And I feel that if they are able to pull it off, which I think at this point is almost a foregone conclusion, that it's a great story for Vegas. I mean, because this is a market that nobody ever figured you'd see a professional team, and now you're about to potentially have every major sport there. We'll see about basketball one day. But anyways, long story short, been nice so far. They've been the dominant team. But hey, man, I mean, if you're Florida, if you're in the state of Florida, you have to be happy. I mean, it's not like they've made a tournament, or rather a Stanley Cup final appearance for the last 20 years or something.
Yeah.
They're there making progress, and of course, as you noted, I mean, you have the Heat in the finals. The Tampa Bay Rays are a great baseball team. The Buccaneers won the Super Bowl a couple years ago. The Dolphins are up and coming. They make it Dalvin Cook. So I mean, long story short, Florida sports are flourishing right now, are they not?
I mean, yeah, and that's what I was going to say. So you look at like the back-to-back defending world champions in the NHL. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Exactly, the Lightning. I forgot to mention them too.
I mean, South Florida's gotten like a come up, and like you mentioned, I want to get your opinion on this as well while we wait. Dalvin Cook. The possibility of just getting that guy, along with Tyreek Hill, along with Raheem Mostert, and along with Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki, like this seems like now there would be zero excuses. Mm-hmm. I mean, you might want to think your defense can hold up, and we can see about that. But now it seems like there's going to be zero excuses for this Miami Dolphins team. Like they should be the front runner, even with that Buffalo Bills team in the AFC East.
I'm still not sold on Buffalo. I mean, I think Buffalo is good, and I like Allen, but I feel that, yes, if they acquire still a really good Dalvin Cook, that should put them over, in terms of, over the competition. And albeit, yes, Kansas City is the dominant team in the NFL right now, but if anything's been proven in the past, A, it's hard to win back-to-back Super Bowls, and B, it's they are beatable. I mean, it's not like they are the most unbeatable team we've seen. So, yes, I mean, I like Tua. I mean, when he's healthy, he's a pretty damn good quarterback. And I like the fact that Cook is become a better receiving running back, so he can certainly add into that mix. And he's also would love to play in Miami because he played college down there at the U, and he wants to be back at South Florida. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah. We're being asked who will win tomorrow, the Bay Area Panthers or the Arizona Rattlers. I have no clue what you're talking about.
I'd say Bay Area sounds better.
Yeah.
It sounds like some sort of, is that soccer?
I guess it's got to be like arena football.
As arena, okay.
Yeah. Or is that, no, that's not, is the USFL still going?
It could be USFL. I know obviously XFL's already over. Arlington won. It could be USFL.
I don't know.
I think USFL could be still
no
going.
Clue at all. You know how deep in the pantheon of sports you have to go for me to not know what you're talking about?
I mean, I hear you.
I've got literally nothing else going on in my life, and I'll be able to be like, yeah, you know what? Maybe something here. Maybe I can give you something. The Bay Area Panthers sound much more. I don't know, Arizona Rattler. That's a snake, right? Venomous.
Yeah, venomous, scary. They rattle when they want you to leave. I mean, but
I mean, a panther, right? Like you got Panthers going on with that. Indoor football league is what this.
Oh, indoor.
Indoor football. Yeah, no one watches that.
Not like outdoor football league.
No.
It's indoors.
It's indoors.
It's air conditioned in the summer. Oh, thank God!
Actually, no, that sounds nice.
Yeah, I mean,
now that I think about it,
I'd rather be indoors in El Paso when it's 105 than outdoors. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And then obviously, if you're in Arizona, like you want to be inside and away from the Rattlers.
Yeah, you want to stay inside. Yeah. There's AC,
and it keeps you away from the Rattlers and the Panthers. That way, you're not getting attacked by any animals.
Stay away from the Panthers too.
Yes, 100%. All right, so talking about like hockey and the Vegas Golden Knights, it's been interesting to watch like their rise as a franchise because you don't really see this very often, right? Like you did see it with the Arizona Diamondbacks early on, but they just had a wealth of riches, right? With Kurt Schilling, with Randy Johnson, with Luis Gonzalez, like that team was just stacked and ready to go to make a run. But it wasn't a sustained run the way that we've seen from this Vegas Golden Knights team. They've been around 6 years now. Mm-hmm. This is their fifth time in the playoffs, their third time in the conference final. Right, and then their second time in the Stanley Cup.
Sure,
they've missed the playoffs one time in their existence, and you normally don't see that with franchise like expansion franchises. Yeah. I was expecting to see something like that. Maybe the Kraken would have been, competitive, and they made it to the playoffs, but they were easily overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
So how rare is it to see this stuff? Because I don't remember anything like this with expansion franchises.
I don't, and the thing is that what's even more unique. Sure, they had the benefit of the expansion draft the first year, so they were really able to build a winning franchise from the ground up from the first year because of that draft. But after that, with free agency and injuries and so on, it's really difficult to sustain that type of success. And I think that kind of talks about the way the organization is being run, from its coaching to ultimately the type of players that they have and other things that they have, that you build a great franchise, a great GM, a great office staff, and so on. It goes beyond just your players. And I think that that's a very well-run organization, and it's an organization that has given their fans a lot to cheer for in the first 6 years, and they have a lot to look forward to for the future with that particular.
But how spoiled is that fan base going to be from now on? Like, this is your expectation. Like,
There's
you just show up.
Have never been to a Stanley Cup. You know what I mean?
I mean, what, the
like,
Maple Leafs, right? Like, it's been forever since they've won one.
A Canadian team hasn't won it since '93 when Les Canadiens won it.
That's insane.
And that's a long time for a Canadian team to not win it. They, for crying out loud, hockey was what derived in Canada, did it not?
Yeah.
So, I mean, come on now.
And you're a Blackhawks fan, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I got what, 2 in 5 years, whatever. I'm very happy.
Yeah, I've seen 2 Stanley
10
Cups.
and 13.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, me as a spoiled sports fan, right? Because obviously the Cowboys won 3 as a kid. It's been forever. We already get that. Let's not bring that up. The Yankees have won 5. The Spurs have won 5. And now me being like a new hockey fan, I said, well, I'm a new hockey fan. Let me get with this new franchise because I had just came up that year. And me being spoiled now, I'm like, okay, is this like the normal thing? Am I supposed to expect this every year with hockey?
Yes.
Because the Blackhawks are always seemingly in contention.
Always. I mean, they've had some years though. They've kind of cleaned house. I mean, they got rid of Taves. They got rid of Kane, but those guys are a little long in the tooth now. They're not what they used to be years ago. And I mean, to me, look, it's been a while since the Blackhawks have been dominant like they were in the mid 2000s, from like the 10 to 15 mark. But long story short, I mean, hey, like I said, you give me a Stanley Cup even in my lifetime. I mean, and nowadays, again, you don't see there's no dominant, and besides the Tampa Bay Lightning, they are the dominant franchise nowadays. But other than that, it's hockey, man. It's one of the least dominated sports. You don't have the Oilers of the 80s, or the Islanders, whatever it is, teams winning, 4 and 7 years. You don't see that anymore usually.
And I was thinking about this because in basketball, you can say there's a big difference between 3-0 lead and a 2-1 lead, right? Huge. It's almost insurmountable. We see that seem to get overcome a lot more in hockey, those come from behind series victories, than what we do in any other sport. And I think that's what makes hockey so much fun, at least to me.
Sure, absolutely. It is. I mean, and look, I mean, hockey is one of the most physical sports besides football, and that is if you're a true fan of the sport, you appreciate it for what it is, and that is 60 minutes of just nonstop competitive action and beating the crap out of each other, and few guys with teeth. And I mean, it's just a barbaric sport. I mean, where checking is allowed, where you can hit somebody as hard as possible into the glass. And if I remember never forget sitting watching the Blackhawks and the Flyers at the United Center, and like, I don't know, it was like a long time ago. It was the early 2000s, and we sat in the second row. And Lindros, I think, was still with Philly, know. And man, I've never seen a person get hit harder in my life than I did when I sat in the second row, and people's beers were flying off of the glass there, and the boom, they would. I was like, God, I love this sport, especially that close. That's the only time you're so close, you freeze your tuchus off the whole game. Let's put it that way,
Did you see this last game between the Golden Knights and the Panthers?
I did not.
I could have sworn, and this is where like hockey players are a complete different beast than anything else, right? Kachuk gets the puck, gets rid of it, and as he's turning, just gets absolutely hammered. You see his head hit the ice.
Yeah.
Everything. You think the dude's out for the rest of the game, right?
Sure.
Comes back in the third period. Just gets back on the ice and starts doing his thing. They're like, oh, well, he only had 8 minutes of playing time, so that means he's going to be all right.
It's amazing. I mean, it's just amazing the hits these guys take, and how you think, oh, he's seriously injured. He almost got killed with a skate, and yet they're back. I mean, like literally right away, they're back. No rest for the weary. These guys, the balls are brilliant. I mean, they are some of the toughest SOBs you'll ever meet in your life.
I saw a movie that was making fun of like sports and stuff like that, and the guy's like a former Canadian hockey player. He's about to get in a fight with somebody. He's like, you know what happens whenever our big boy teeth come in? Our coach yanks them out. That way we don't miss a shift. I was like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
That's fun. You know how a hockey player smiles, right?
Oh. But I mean,
what's this all about?
So and to me, like, I don't understand hockey, right? Like, I'm a new fan to this. It's kind of like the same thing with soccer. I'm still not going to be a soccer fan. I've been trying. Like, I was watching the World Cup. I was doing all that stuff. Like, I just can't get into it, right?
Sure,
it's too slow for me. But what I love about hockey is just, like, I have no clue what's going on, but they're hitting each other, and that's all I care about. As soon as you, like you said, as soon as you get someone that gets just checked into the glass, it's like a completely different game, dude. And I've been all about it. Like I am loving this Stanley Cup. I've been watching a lot of the like playoff hockey. I've been growing out my playoff beard. It's the only time I ever grow a beard, man.
Oh, well, that's good. Playoff beards are great, you know. Hey,
where's yours?
I'm going to try to grow it a little long. This is just my playoff goatee.
Okay.
I'm going to try to work on the beard pretty soon, I promise, you know.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the NBA Finals while we wait for Bill Wennington to join us here on Fire and Ice. Once again, we are over here at Union Draft House, 730 Sunland Park Drive on the west side of El Paso in the parking lot of Sunland Park Mall. Come on out here. We already spoke to Reina. Remember, it's cider day. You got them $4 ciders. Our favorite thing in the world, them $2 build your own pizzas. It's the best thing in the world, man. Like, you do need to get on out here. Eat some of them pizzas. They're good pizzas.
They're delicious.
Normally, whenever you think of $2 pizza, you think of pretty crappy pizza. No, this is good pizza.
Yes.
It's really damn good pizza. So come on out here, check them out. And if you want to be a psychopath like me and try to join the 100 beer challenge over here just to get 10% off for the rest of your life because you're a big fat guy, why don't you do that as well?
What are you on, number 20 now?
Well, you know, I've got some disputes with that because
why?
On the last show, we actually went from 20 all the way over to 22, but they didn't punch those ones for me.
Oh.
So I
Are
was
you
like,
saying this is a Florida election? We've got to count chads
Is
to
there
get
Chads?
beers?
I
Yeah.
see the dipple chads
there's
there.
hanging chads. There's hanging on over here.
So they're trying to pull a shtick on you. But with that being said, what is this and how is
This
it?
one is the Alaskan White.
Oh, your cup of tea.
And
you live in Alaska?
I do actually really enjoy this beer. Like, it's a nice light beer. I do like darker beers. You already know, like, I love me some stouts and things like that. But I also like, whenever you can drink a beer, enjoy the actual flavor of it. It doesn't get you knocked on your ass.
Yeah.
And you just get to, like, have a good time. That's what I really like about Elite 8 Light Lager. And I'm not plugging it like I always do. But that's what I really like about it. Like, I can just sit there and drink them all day. And I don't feel, like, disgusting by, like, halfway through. You know what I mean? Well, I don't think you drink the way that I do.
I do not drink. You drink like a fish. I drink like a lightweight. You know, I'm
Well,
like
yeah.
one or two, and I'm one and done or two.
Yeah,
and
like
done.
whenever the Iceman melted, it was all just beer weight that left.
I guess it was beer weight. Yeah, exactly. It's beer weight. That's funny.
But yeah, come on out here, 730 Sunland Park Drive, Union Draft House. It's Rena's birthday weekend, so, you know, hook her up with a little bit of love, a little extra love. Birthday things are always fantastic. Also, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Three Missions Breweries, 1079 Socorro Road down in Socorro, Texas, my neck of the woods where I grew up. And they've got their brand new beer menu coming out. Of course, it's always anchored by that delicious pomegranate beer. You get that with a little chamoy and some tahini on the rim. That's absolutely amazing. My go-to is always going to be, like I said, these light beers just like this, the Socorro Blondie. It's a bunch of flavor, and they've got the Copperhead back now as well. So if you've ever been on out there to Three Missions Brewery, you know what I'm talking about. It's a great scenery out there. Go check them out, 1079 Socorro Road down in Socorro, Texas. And follow them on social media at Three Missions Brewery. There we go. Did all the house cleaning stuff that I need to do. Apparently, I got a lot of things with beers. I just mentioned all the beer we got here. I mentioned Elite 8 Light Lager. And then I mentioned Three Missions Brewery. Maybe I've got problems.
No, I mean, not really. You're just kind of an alcoholic.
I just had an intervention with myself.
At least you're sharp enough to notice your own flaws, though.
Well, I mean, I never drink alone.
No,
Jesus is always with me.
Yeah, that's right. You know, so I hear. Hey, you know, and I always have my club soda, and you have your 10 beers, and we're good to go.
Oh, yeah. It's because you're a decent human being.
I don't know about that.
You're a
but
decent human being.
You're more decent than I am.
I don't know.
Sure.
No, I definitely know that's not the case. all this bass in my voice is just Satan trying to come out.
Right? You have horns underneath that hat.
That's why I always wear a hat. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's weird. I haven't seen your head in years.
yeah.
Thank God, you know.
Yeah, because if I did, it would be the darkest day in El Paso's history.
It's funny. I saw a picture with you recently, and you weren't wearing a hat. And you looked weird. It's like Tip's all professional. You know, Tip's trying to be professional when he's not wearing a hat.
Yeah.
You know, like your hat's like glued to your head. You're always wearing it. And like me, I only wear it when I'm outside to keep the sun out of my eyes and not get sunburned. But you like live in a hat.
Yeah,
You sleep in a hat.
I mean, well, who doesn't? Right? You got to make sure
I don't.
that the hair and everything. So let me look. Let me show you.
Let me
right?
see.
So I got
Oh,
the
you
hair.
got a nice head of hair. I was gonna say I've seen better heads in Cabbage Patches, but you know, I mean, no, you got a sharp looking haircut there, pal.
Yeah, man. See, I take care of myself a little bit. It's just, you know,
good.
there's a little balding going on the top, so, you know, I got to like do the
Yeah.
stuff to maybe keep that.
Do you
around
only
a
wear
little bit.
fitted hats? Because I'm not crazy about fitted hats.
The majority of my hats are fitted
Yeah.
hats.
I
So
like
like
that. I
I
like
might
the
have some
expandable.
snapbacks and stuff,
Yeah.
but nah, I just like the way that the fitted hat looks.
Yeah,
right?
no, I hear you. I
Flat
mean,
brim,
It's cool. I mean, I'm more of a like adjustable, but I do have some fitted hats. That I wear. My White Sox hat's a fitted one. So
yeah, and then like with you're super white, so that's why you're translucent.
I am. You can practically see through me. You can call me Casper the Iceman if you want.
This is where you can tell like I've been outside a little too long, because whenever I put my arm next to Brandon, I am.
You're dark as heck, man. My God, dude. Well, son, have you spent some time in the sun?
Team no tan lines. That's basically what I'm coming down to right now.
I don't tan, I burn.
All right, so getting back to what we were talking about before I went on this nasty tangent of promoting and all this stuff.
No pun intended.
The NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
We've had those underway now for going on 4 games, 3-1 series lead for the Nuggets over the Miami Heat. Nikola Jokic is just seemingly unstoppable right now. He had like the worst game that he's had in the playoffs yesterday, just because he didn't get a triple-double.
Sure, which is crazy.
It's insane to think of like the standard we hold this guy to. He should have been the MVP of the league. No one in basketball is better than him, and he is the personification of a loaf of bread.
Yes.
Right? Like, how is that guy the best player in basketball history?
Yes, absolutely. And that's a good point too, Are we good with the battery, or are we trying to?
I think the camera died on.
Oh, okay. Whoa. Okay, we'll work on that. Hey, so, at least we can't see your.
Oh, at least I know this. So let me change this camera real quick.
Yeah, definitely.
While I change some stuff out here, I need a little plug, and I'm going to get that for you real quick.
Okay, we're going to get a plug.
Here. So, Brandon, how about you sit right here in front of this camera so you can talk to the people and give them your thoughts on the amazing dominance of one Nikola Jokic?
Well, I'll tell you what. Coming back, I like this camera. Jokic is, as I noted at the beginning of the broadcast, in my opinion, one of the best big men that we've seen in a long time. And, he's just one of those guys that clearly is an absolute game changer. He can do everything. I mean, very rarely do you see a big man like Jokic who is able to single-handedly change the way a game is actually played. And when it's all said and done, do you want me to stay here? Okay. When it's all said and done, he is such a significant presence. I mean, think about it. The guy's won 2 out of the last 3 MVPs. Arguably could have won the MVP this year, but they gave it to Embiid, and it's certainly not a horrible move on the NBA's part. But when it's all said and done, again, the reason why the Denver Nuggets have been able to sustain really the dominance that they've had this season and any other season where they've been close is because of Jokic. And I have to say with great certainty that he has been a game changer. I mean, when you're averaging a triple-double per game, and of course last night you're considered to have an off game because of the simple fact that you don't have that triple-double and you're that big man, it's really kind of comical if you think about it. So, look, I mean, he is clearly the reason why, in my opinion, Denver is as good as they've been this year and will continue to be in the years coming. And I have to say that, look, unfortunately, and I know, let's call a spade, the NBA did not want to see the Nuggets and the Miami Heat in the finals. You wanted to see the Lakers and the Celtics, to go back to the old school days of Boston and LA. But with that being said, you get a team like a Denver, who is not the biggest market, but clearly when you have a player with the intrigue like a Jokic, really makes it interesting as far as I'm concerned, too. I'm going to go ahead and get up and let Tip come back here to make it, semi-exciting in the respect that you have one of the more dominant players that we've seen in forever and a day, and that is what makes Denver such a unique story. And I think how's that working out? Okay.
Yeah, I think everything should be good right now. I believe that we are back on that other camera. That's what you call the beauty of live radio and live streaming and all that good stuff. I should have plugged that in, so that's on my fault. But hey,
that's all right.
It's what you get whenever you're you got everything held together with bubble gum and duct tape. And toothpicks. It's kind of like my ACLs.
Yeah, well, at least they're lasting still, right?
Yes.
So you're still here. You're still walking around,
So I wanted to talk to you about kind of like what you were saying right there about Nikola Jokic and like how he's basically the glue that keeps this whole team together. He's like doing his thing. It's amazing what he's able to do in Denver, a team that's, staring down the barrel of winning their first ever championship. And you know how I am. I love seeing teams win their first championship because I believe that every team, their fan base should be able to experience that, unless you're the Chicago Cubs, in which case I want you to die sad. But I'm looking at, everything that he means to that city of Denver. And I look at Miami and like how the last couple of years they've been on the cusp, right? They've been to the NBA Finals 2 times in the last 4 years. They've, been that team that no one was really expecting. I didn't look at them, Brandon, as your typical 8th seed, because this was a team that has so much playoff experience. You got Jimmy Butler out there. They had so many people that were hurt leading to the playoff push that them making it to the playoffs in my mind was like, oh, okay, well, it should have been a foregone conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
You look at this run that they're on right now, they're missing Tyler Hero,
Yeah.
one of the better shooters in the NBA and a guy that can get you 30 points any given night, right?
Sure.
So they're missing some pieces. They're building this team around Bam Adebayo. But I have to think about this if I'm a Miami Heat fan. How much more do they have left if Jimmy Butler continues to age, right? Because during the regular season, Jimmy Butler is basically nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Then the playoffs come, and the guy is unstoppable, right?
Sure, sure.
You cannot beat Jimmy Butler. He becomes Jimmy Buckets, Himmy Butler, whatever you want to call him.
Mm-hmm.
He's just out there draining all his shots. But next year, Brandon, is the cheapest year that the Miami Heat are going to get for Jimmy Butler, and it's $45 million. Then the year after that, the contract goes up to $50 million. Then after that, by the time it's done, it's a $57 million deal. They've got 4 more years on this deal with Jimmy Butler. If you're Miami, isn't that your biggest trade piece? And wouldn't you try to go after someone like maybe a LeBron James, maybe an Anthony Davis to help out Bam Adebayo? Because that's really the heart and soul of your team is Bam and Tyler Hero.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, one thing about Miami is I look at them from this perspective. They've been good for years now. And you go back to the 2020 year, the bubble year, where they lost in the finals to the Lakers. I mean, certainly that was an unusual year and the circumstances weren't the same, but they've been a good team for a long time. And the bottom line is that I think that Pat Riley is a great president. He's a great GM. I mean, he knows basketball. And the fact is that even if Butler leaves one day or gets older, which is what happens with players, he's still a good enough GM and still a good enough individual to run that franchise to where they're going to keep being good, and as the expectations are that they're going to be a dominant force in the East. And I mean, if you really look at an underachiever, it's the Boston Celtics. I mean, Miami Heat, they've been, when they don't expect to do well, they end up coming out of the woodwork and take care of business. That's what I call an impressive franchise. Now, if they could just go over the hump and win one, but again, it would have been hard for anybody to beat this Denver Nuggets team this year, as good as they are.
So it's been a while since you and I got to actually sit together, talk a little bit about sports and everything like that. We've already given the love to the Denver Nuggets. We've already given the love to the Miami Heat. Congratulations on making it this far to the NBA Finals. Obviously, there's got to be one winner, and I think we're both kind of in unison here thinking it's Denver. Like, they're just a much overwhelming
team. They win it at home. They win it at home next game. And
do you think they win Game 5? Because I think if there's a game, you might have that one as your letdown where Miami wins that. You go back to Miami, you win on the road.
Well, I mean, I do. I say that because even if Game 2, when they lost it, Miami had a great fourth quarter, they were doing well in the first few quarters, and they just let that last quarter get away, and that's basketball.
And it took a phenomenal performance from Miami, right? Like, you shot almost 50% from three-point line, and then Denver just seemingly choked away in the fourth quarter. That's not going to happen again, right?
Sure.
And in order for you to win that game, you won by 3 with just the best performance that you've needed in the NBA. It's so hard to duplicate that again, right? So to me, it's like, I can see this series being done on Sunday.
Absolutely. I'm going to predict that Denver wins their first NBA championship on Sunday and takes care of business. They just took those 2 big road games, and obviously they have all the momentum right now, and you'd like to hope that it is prolong the series, but Miami's being outplayed big time. That's the bottom line, is that they have no answer for Jokic, which we knew was going to be the case, but certainly you want them to see him make them competitive, because no one wants to see a 4-1 series, and that's that. I mean, but it's just the nature of what you. Yeah,
I do. I don't like the Miami Heat.
Well,
it's one of those weird franchises I just don't like. You know what I mean? Like, me as a Cowboys fan, the random vitriol that I have for like the Raiders, and they don't play each other very often. They just don't there's no history there between them. I just don't like the Raiders, and like their fan base are all disgusting, gross people. Every single last one of them, including you, Jason Fitz, you jerk. Nah, I'm messing with him.
They wear weird things too, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, everyone does that. I mean, look at me. I'm wearing a What a Dad shirt, right?
That's a cool shirt,
this is the shirt that my boys got me for Father's Day. I know that. I think
nice.
I'm such a bad son. I don't even know when Father's Day is.
It's a week from this Sunday.
It's a week from this Sunday.
Yeah,
so the 17th.
17th is
18th, whatever day it is.
I think it's the 17th.
This Sunday. Happy Father's Day to all you all out there in the future, right? But I'm looking at, the way that we got to this NBA Finals. And you hit the nail right on the head. The NBA was this close, Brandon. this close to having the marquee matchup.
Mhm.
The Lakers and the Celtics, and then we got this, which I don't know if you saw the tweet that I put out, but whenever Game 1 of the NBA Finals started, the whole ABC broadcast was like, one of the most anticipated NBA Finals in NBA history. And I thought to myself, there ain't a goddamn person on this planet that's excited about this game. like there ain't nobody here. Like Denver and Miami,
Except for Denver
maybe.
and Miami fans. That's it. No one else gives a shit. Though.
And then me, because I'm the weird person that, like, I watch NBA G League basketball. So getting me excited for basketball ain't much of anything.
You're looking for something in July when there's the dog days of summer and all we have is baseball and there's nothing else going on.
I still love me some baseball.
Yeah, I mean, you're more of a baseball fan than I am.
Prime napping time during baseball.
That's me.
Fall asleep in the second inning, wake up in the eighth inning where it might be close. That's a good time, buddy.
Well, yeah, that's the fun. The funny thing about baseball is you never ceases to amaze me how much people kibitz at baseball games. It's like the only sport where you don't have to be paying attention all the time. You still see the highlights. Kibitz in Yiddish, meaning bullshit and talk.
Oh, okay.
You looked at me like I was speaking French, but I mean, kibitz, you see all the people, Dave knows what I mean, but, everyone's kibitzing and getting up to go get hot dogs and beer and whatever. And, you come back and there's like nothing that happened for the last 3 innings and you get back and then you see a friggin' 400-foot home run. You're like, oh, I feel like I've succeeded this game and I've seen something happen.
I love just random baseball stats, right? Because you're right. Like it is the weirdest game in professional sports because it's the only game where the offense doesn't have the ball, right? And me being a Yankees fan, obviously I pay much more attention to all their dumb stuff that they do, but Josh Donaldson misses the first part of the season, finally comes back, has 6 hits on the season, and 5 of them are home runs. And it just shows you how baseball is evolved.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where all it is just bombs, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at it right now, he's in the top 50. Despite missing the first 2 months of baseball, he's in the top 50 of home runs.
Crazy.
Because every hit is just going to be a home run or maybe a soft fly out or something like that.
Absolutely. And again, we can't emphasize enough the type of talent that you're going to end up seeing here in El Paso.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I'm looking forward to the summer.
Yeah,
like where we're both off. You've got your media pass.
Yeah, you have yours.
I've got my media pass. I'm saying we go and check out some games together.
See why not?
Get a little nosh.
There's good nosh.
We can kibitz during the game.
Yeah, and have a grease.
Yeah,
it's a good time. Use all our Yiddish.
I'm trying. I'm trying to learn here. That was the first time I'd ever heard that word. I was trying to think, what the hell's kibish? I thought you mispronounced kibosh.
No. I got your kibosh. Oh, that's so funny. That's hilarious, man. You're a funny man.
I don't think I said anything funny. I was just trying to I don't know what you're talking about half the time. Even David kind of looked at you like, why are you saying this?
He's like, what language are you speaking, sir? He's like, Dave's like, I speak Hebrew, I speak Yiddish, but I don't speak Brandonish.
I love the fact, it's kind of like Spanglish, where you just kind of merge the two languages together, man.
Yeah.
Like it just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, the way I talk, and most people have to ask me for translations, but eventually they figure out my language.
Dave, do you speak Yiddish as well?
Just enough to get by when my parents were alive. That's about
it. I guarantee you Dave knows the key Yiddish expressions. If I told him Meshuggah, he could tell you what that means.
Well, I think everyone knows what Meshuggah means.
Okay, how about Schlepp, Daver?
It's what I have to do to set up your broadcast.
See? He knows. Schlepp.
Okay. So is there
Bubkas? Bubkas.
That's like your rear
pants
end,
buttons.
right?
No, that's tuchus. That's your tuchus. Bubkas is like pants buttons. Like what am I going to pay you in Bubkas or schmauzi? My dad, he spoke a lot of Yiddish. My dad,
I love it because it's like I'm learning a new language every time, right?
Geschluft, geschluft, right?
Geschluft, yeah, you told me that one.
Geschluft.
Yeah.
Verschimmel.
Do so like whenever you go to synagogue? I don't know. Is that like I go
term? In Las Cruces. I go to the Chabad house.
Yeah. Do they speak Yiddish there, or are y'all like just having full on Yiddish conversations?
I mean, you meet a few fellow Jews who are speaking, saying a little Yiddish here, a little, but not like as extreme as I am, I guess.
And I'm asking out of genuine curiosity. I'm not asking to be like a jerk or anything. Like out of genuine curiosity, I want to know because it fascinates me, man. Like language fascinates me.
And Yiddish is really more like slang. I mean, it's not.
Oh, okay.
It is like a language, right? I mean, David, but it's also
and it's a growing language because it expands based on where Jews were forced to find residence when countries didn't always welcome them. So they picked up bits and pieces of the lands where they were welcome.
And I know part of it's derived from German. I mean, and some
Yes.
Yiddish. I mean, well, like shtick is more of an East Coast or Midwest thing. Like you go to New York or Chicago, and everyone's like, "Hey, I pulled a shtick," and you're like, "Hey, I like that term. That's a good one." You know what I mean? Shtick's always a good term. I like.
Yeah,
shtick.
I'm down with shtick.
I got a shtick going on. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
An angle or a move. So
Speaking of shticks, Brandon's got one this afternoon whenever he goes over to Andrews High School at Alan Sepulwitz Stadium.
Alan Sepulwitz
Yes,
Field. Yeah.
I was going to say Kaplowitz Stadium. I know that's not the. I know that's not the place.
Yeah,
That's not the name of the place.
Kaplowitz hasn't been retired long enough.
Yeah, shout out to Steve. What high school did he go to anyway? It was like
Coronado,
right? So
class
that's like-
of 91 or 92, I think.
Coronado High School, do better. Your entire broadcasting, like theater or whatever it is that you got, needs to be named after Steve Kaplowitz. Period.
Hey
End of
man, I went
discussion.
to school too there.
Yeah, but you're not.
I'm not Steve Kaplowitz.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm
You
still
can
the
have like
Iceman.
you can have like the Brandon the Iceman Cone closet.
Yeah, there you go. The
There we
closet,
go.
the Brandon the Iceman Code washroom.
There we go.
It's
Yes,
like
yeah, I'm
dedicated
good with
to
that.
me, dedicated to the crappy Brandon the Iceman Cone.
It's got like a whole plaque above it as well. And, like, the very first line is like co-host Fire and Ice, and they got it scratched out kind of.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it, man. That's good.
I left my mark.
Socorro High School will never dedicate anything to me, so at least we got that
good.
going
You know, are the
I don't know
tip.
about that. Yeah. I'm also
Just the tip arena.
just the tip arena. Oh my god,
It's funny.
that would be great.
Where are you going? I'm just going to the tip tonight. Excuse me? Meet me in just the tip. Wait a minute. That's not way. It's going to be that kind of party.
Meet me at the tip, guys.
Whoa.
How was it? You say the same thing, but the second I say it, it comes off as much more sexual.
Because of your voice.
Oh, okay. Well,
And because of the beard.
I can't help that. I mean, the beard I can't help. I can shave, but
I miss doing the show with you.
I missed it too. It's
You
been a
make
whole.
me laugh.
It's been a month of Sundays
I know.
since we've been able to do this show. I'm trying to learn, Brandon. Like Yiddish fascinates me for whatever reason. Like Yiddish, German, French, all fascinated me. Whenever I grew up here in El Paso, I didn't bother learning Spanish at all.
Yeah.
I was just about like, let me learn French because that's going to benefit me one day. So we got that working for us.
Parlez-vous français?
Yeah, a little bit. I got my thing going
Je ne sais quoi.
for me.
Well, they've got the Olympics in Paris in a year from now.
That's the goal. So did I tell you? I don't think you and I have spoken at length of like some of the little goals and things that I have over the next couple of years. So I want to go to Paris for the Olympics. I want to see if there's any way that we can be able to work that out, even if I just go for like a couple of days, right? Like, I don't care what they have me covering. I can be covering like, what is it, like ping pong, right? So that's an Olympic sport.
Mm-hmm.
I can cover that and I'd be happy. I just want to go to the Olympics. But one of the things I'm working on, I don't know if you can tell, Brandon, but I've lost 26 pounds.
Yeah.
Since the beginning of March. So I'm feeling a little svelte about myself right now.
Good use.
And I'm trying to work on getting my leg because, as some of you might not know, but from knee surgery and stuff like that, my leg from my knee down on my left side is constantly asleep, right? So it's got like pins and needles feeling to it all the time.
Ouch.
So I'm trying to like work on that to where I can deal with it whenever I run, because one of my goals now, Brandon, is I want to start running marathons.
Mm-hmm.
And along with running these marathons comes the World Marathon. Have you heard of that before?
No, I have not. Tell me more, please.
7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my God.
And that's something that I want to do, just to travel to those places and like do all that stuff. And the most recent one, like obviously there's only one place you can really run in Antarctica, and I think it's like one small spot, right? But in Africa, like they ran up Mount Kilimanjaro, 4 laps around the peak of the mountain, and then back down was your full marathon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, that's a pretty cool, like, little thing to do there. And obviously you're running like New York City here in the United States, in like Tokyo or wherever city they decide they want to do in Asia, in London or Paris or any places like that in Europe. But you're bouncing around from each one of these continents and you just run your marathon.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and check your text real quick. I sent, just make sure that you sent it to the right email. That's what my brother was mentioning right now. Yeah, I mean, that would be a really interesting thing, especially to be able to ultimately travel like that extensively. And of course, be able, I mean, how many people could say that they've run a marathon in that many continents? I mean, if you look at, that many places in the world, and it's like Africa, Asia, North America, South America. But to me, the most intriguing one would be Antarctica, because you would be like walking and running and freezing your tuchus off at the same time and have to dress like it's probably 40 below out, which is what it would be. But I'm just like trying to figure out what are they going to do, like find a sheet of ice for you, because the whole continent is ice. So like, where in the hell are you going to like walk or run? Or that's interesting. I don't know that I could ever see myself doing that. I mean, I actually want to go to Antarctica. You know, they have these cruises that do Antarctica, just the tip, believe it or not, of Antarctica, because you can't really go inland. You have to be on the coast, obviously. But they're very expensive. But I mean, I've been to Iceland, so why in the hell wouldn't I want to go to Antarctica? I mean, to me, I like exotic places like that. I'd like to go to Greenland someday. I have to say that would be cool beyond cool, being able to actually do Antarctica. You know, I mean, that would be phenomenal. What an interesting concept. But you're like in great shape, and I mean, I feel that
I most definitely am not in great shape.
No, you are, man. You know,
I did send it to the right.
We are
place.
okay.
I mean, I'll send it again if you want me to.
Yeah, let me just tell my brother. You know, we're trying to get Bill Wennington on, or we're trying our best. You know,
we're doing everything we can. This is the best part about not having commercials.
Yeah, right. We're like, let's play it
where you can reset yourself.
Yeah,
don't have that luxury here, unfortunately.
Yeah, right.
Maybe that's what we need to work on. Maybe I need to just create, instead of me saying all the stuff, just ad-libbing it. Maybe I should just record a commercial.
That's a good idea. You come down to Union
give us a break.
House. Come down to Union Draft House. Try their $2 pizzas and add toppings on Saturdays. And you get the card, and you can try 100 different beers. Although they won't punch it every time, so you'll be getting them over and over again.
We don't talk negatively.
No. I mean, but that's a benefit because you get to drink more. Wait a minute.
Good spin.
I've been
like
on number 15 for the last year, but eventually I'll get to 100 and get my 10% off. Anyways. Watch baseball and watch soccer and
So a little bit later on this afternoon here,
funny,
all the stuff that's going on at Union Draft House. I just got a message from our friend Victor, who obviously lets us set up here and do all the stuff that we do. So thank you, Victor Fierro, for letting us come out here to Union Draft House and doing all the stuff that we do. What I will say, though, is this afternoon they're going to have the Champions League final being broadcast here at Union Draft House. Obviously, they're going to have the NBA Finals broadcast out here. They still have the Stanley Cup Finals out here. And most importantly, Brandon, I don't know if you see this or not, down there they're showing the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on whatever team they're taking on.
Yeah, is it San Francisco?
I don't know.
I think it is. Which is ironic because Arizona is also playing San Francisco in the other league, the Indoor Football League, remember?
Oh, is that? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Arizona,
the Rattlers in Bay Area.
Yeah, so ironically enough, maybe that's what they meant, though, like baseball. There, you think the Diamondbacks are going to beat the Giants as opposed to because they're playing each other right now. I think they're in San Francisco.
Knowing nothing about actual sports names, it's kind of like me whenever I'm trying to sound smart. Like, oh yeah, the flux capacitor.
Flux capacitor. I like the flux capacitor. I love that movie.
I've never seen that movie all the way through.
Of course you haven't. But
you have your choice of 3 of them to see in the back to the.
Well, the third one was kind of garbage, but the first 2 were great.
Wow, Look at Brandon the Iceman Cohn being the arbiter of everything Back to the Future.
Yeah, who doesn't love that movie, especially the original?
Like I said, I haven't really seen them, so maybe I need to add this to my bucket list of things. I'm actually surprised in myself that I haven't gone and seen Fast X yet.
It's okay. It starts off.
Don't you dare talk negatively about anything Fast and Furious related.
They should make 10 more movies like that. Although I will say, I saw The Boogeyman recently. That was interesting. I mean, if you're into the horror movies, that wasn't too shabby. I mean, I try and see a movie a week. Little Mermaid, stuff like that.
She was adorable.
Yeah,
Miss Bailey.
Yeah, it was
adorable.
It was a good flick, actually. If you like that franchise, check it out.
The Little Mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The way they publicized it was the anti-review. They were getting slammed by all of these comments from people who, I guess, had no business reviewing a film. So they had to evaluate the standards.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I mean, it was a 2-hour and 15-minute music was beautiful and acting was good. And I mean, to see it like that was cool.
That seems kind of long, 2 hours and 15
Dude,
minutes.
every freaking movie nowadays, they can't get their point in less than 2 hours and 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, why, dude? I'm like, what happened to an hour and 30-minute movie? With previews, you're looking at still almost 2 hours, right?
I watched the other day the new White Men Can't Jump. And
it was terrible.
I liked it.
Did you really?
I did. I thought it was decent. So whenever I watch, I guess, reimaginations of movies and stuff, because that's what that was, right? I don't hold it up to the standard of the other movies. So I went in with zero bias on it. And I thought, the story, obviously it's a little corny.
Sure.
Right? The
it's
former
different.
The former basketball player that's white playing for Gonzaga seems kind of stereotypical.
Yeah, come on now. Yeah, I mean, geez, that was original, wasn't it?
But like but for me, like I like the basketball in it, right? Because like I love just watching basketball. I like Jack Harlow as a musician and stuff. So like I thought it was a pretty decent movie.
I mean, I watched 20 minutes of it and I turned it off because my dad.
I will say the first 20 minutes or so do kind of.
Maybe I should give it longer.
Yeah, give it a shot. I mean, but maybe you can do the same thing that I did, right?
Yeah.
With Star Wars, where you watch 20 minutes of it, you fall asleep, wake up later, and there's a different Star Wars.
Yeah, no, I could do that. I mean, all I know is White Man Can't Jump was one of my dad's favorite movies of all time. That movie was a classic. You know, it's a wonderful movie. I mean, you know, and
Destiny is surprised that The Little Mermaid is that long.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, it's one of those movies, and I'm sure David would agree, where it's so entertaining. It is a Long Mermaid. It's huge. But I mean, it's one of those movies where it's so entertaining that you don't even realize it's like 2 hours and change. You're like, whoa, this is an entertaining flick for that long. You're like, whoa. I got to see Spider-Man now, and I got to see Transformers and Flash, and all these movies are coming out this month. Indiana Jones.
Dave, are you like a movie guy too? Do you just go out and watch a bunch of movies all the time?
If it's got a compelling story, I'm there.
Okay.
He likes Alamo. He goes there a lot, right? I think.
Yeah,
it's close to your house.
Yes, it is. It's a cool place.
Do they still have the $2? I mean, the $2. The Tuesday shtick where it's cheap. I think.
Yes,
there
that's
you
right.
go. You find David there every Tuesday.
Well, when it's worthwhile.
I'm sure we'll find you there every Thursday.
Yeah,
or Tuesday.
Yeah, I do take advantage of the shticks on Tuesday. Save a few shekels, you know.
So the other day, I actually started watching, and I'm the worst with like movies and stuff, right? Like I really got to be in the mood to watch a movie. Like as much as I love the Fast and Furious franchise, like I just don't want to deal with people, right?
Yeah,
so like I don't want to go to movie theaters all that often. So I'm just gonna wait for it to come out.
Sure.
And I'll watch it at home, right? But I was doing a thing the other day, and I was watching like the Spider-Verse video or movie, right? Like the one where like Miles Martinez is introduced.
Okay.
I like halfway through, I was like, you know what? I'm pretty like interested in this because I saw it 5 times. I'm sure you know the reasons why. And I was like, okay, well, let me try to watch the rest of this movie. And I just never got around to watching the rest of the movie. And like I'm thinking to myself, like I don't really feel the need to.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, I haven't seen. Is it good?
Well, I haven't seen the new one. It was the first one.
Was it the first one? Was the first one good?
It was decent.
Yeah.
Like,
the new one's supposed to be made the best Spider-Man ever.
Well, to me, Peter Parker dying kind of defeats the purpose of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, it's like if Bruce.
The funny
Wayne
thing
died.
is, I didn't even know he died.
Well, okay, so
thank you. I appreciate it. Now I don't. No need to see it now.
Spoiler alert for a 7-year-old movie.
I've seen 2 movies. You know, I've seen, and one of them is. Let me ruin it for you. No, that's fine. I kind of wondered why somebody else was Spider-Man. I'm like, what is this? His brother or something? I mean,
well, I mean, okay, so if I can say, like, Peter Parker dies so early on in this movie, but it also creates what they've got now.
Okay,
so
I mean,
it's based off of this multiverse theory, and like you got to watch it. And if you believe in like physics and things like that,
so watch the original before I watch the remake or the new one, or else I'll be completely lost.
Yes, I will say that. And like I thought it was decent. Like I'm not a Spider-Man. Like if I watch any superhero movie, it's going to be Batman, and I haven't seen a Batman movie since George Clooney's nipples.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to see Michael Keaton revive his role as Batman for the first time since the early 90s. It's going to be cool, man, for the Flash.
For the Flash movie. So like that's going
to be awesome.
That's what I was thinking too, right? Like over the next couple of weeks, maybe, we've got the summer off. We're going to have ourselves a good old time. Are you good, Brandon?
I'm good right now.
May I get number 21, please? Yes, ma'am.
Oh yeah. Well, let me write. I'll write a note to her so she understands.
I want to go with my Korean. What's it called? My Korean Philly. Is that what it is? I'll do the Korean Philly.
Yeah, me too. With curly fries. What kind of fries do you?
I get the waffle fries.
Yeah, me too. With a side of ranch.
Waffle fries are the best type of fry, and I defy you.
Oops. I misspelled that. Sorry. Look at that. What language is that? It was just some text. I'm typing fast, And
is that Yiddish?
I think it is. All this, please. What? Oh my God, that's pretty funny.
So like what I was thinking with like this new Batman movie, because I am interested in like the Michael Keaton character coming back as like Batman in the Flash, right? I was like, I've missed so many Batman movies.
Yeah.
That I just want to like binge watch all of them, right? Like, I got the summer to myself. Before I watch the Fast X, I'm going to watch all the Fast and Furious movies because Jericho and Jinder love those movies. So I got no problem watching them.
Sure.
So for me, it's like, okay, I want to watch, The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, and like all those things where like you see the evolution of Batman.
Mhm.
But I don't know if I can take Ben Stiller. If I can take Ben Affleck as Batman, because I don't know if I told you this or not, Brandon, but the last superhero movie I watched was Daredevil.
Okay.
And I went on a date with somebody. And the movie was so shitty that the two of us kind of like, I don't think this is going to work out.
You're on the date or the movie?
Both of them.
That's funny.
Right?
Here, let's just divorce now.
Like it was such a bad movie.
Wow.
And I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm not going to watch any of these movies anymore
Sure.
because they're super predictable.
Sure.
And then two, it's like it was Daredevil.
Yeah.
Who honestly
exactly.
should be Batman because he's the one that uses sonar just like a bat.
Yeah.
One thing I learned from experience: don't take a romantic date to see Cocaine Bear.
You're all, wow, this is interesting.
And I told my date at the time, look, a famous woman produced this, Elizabeth Bank. She's a comedian, and nobody was hurt during the film. All the bear sequences were CGI. Oh my goodness!
It was a little gory, to say the least. It was like a horror movie, really.
Yes.
And this poor woman wasn't expecting it. She was probably thinking like it's going to be like Bambi or something,
Well, if the name is Cocaine Bear, it could not be further from Bambi than possible.
I mean, it was actually kind of entertaining. It was kind of ridiculous. It was nice to see Ray Liotta's last movie and all, but god darn, it was a little. It was weird, that movie. It wasn't terrible.
And with the name Cocaine Bear, I thought it was supposed to be a comedy, and finally my date acknowledged, yeah, you're right. It was a really dark comedy.
Yeah, dark
that was
comedy.
it.
Yeah, it couldn't have been farther away from the real story.
And seeing Elizabeth
supposedly.
Banks, I thought, gee, how nasty could this be? Well, she had free reign, just as we can now say whatever we want on live stream. She chose to do that in film.
Yeah, I guess so, man. That was a pretty crazy rank movie,
Lesson learned.
I don't do like gory movies or like horror movies or anything like that, but
it's pretty gory.
I kind of want to watch Cocaine Bear now. Like,
I mean,
it's
definitely
just to see.
Tons of gore from the very beginning on. You're like, oh my, holy shit! You're like, it's going to be this kind of flick, huh? Okay.
So basically, never take a romantic interest. If you learn anything, romantic interest, Cocaine Bear, keep them far away.
There you go.
That's pretty funny. I like that.
Stephen Metaludis letting us know that Duke is currently down 14-3 in the college baseball. Is it like, is it the College World Series? Is that what's going on right now?
I think so. It's some kind of World Series going on.
Also, congrats to Oklahoma softball, who apparently have just a dynasty going on in softball right now, in collegiate softball. They've won 53 straight games.
Jeez.
And they are, just looking down the barrel of their third straight national championship.
Unbelievable.
We've got to talk more about that because that is impressive, especially with how random baseball can be.
Sure. And it's very random.
Oh, it's almost as random as football.
Yeah.
At least the ball isn't oblong shaped, right?
That's what she said. Ga. Okay. Anyways, sorry.
Do we end the show now, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I tried.
No
I did my
worries,
best.
No worries. You and I got to talk about the NBA finals.
Yeah, I tried. Sometimes what are you going to do? It is what it is.
You know what? And the big question is, how much time off does LeBron James really need?
A couple weeks.
He needs to retire.
Yeah, I would survive. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so
can I get some more club soda, please?
Can I get more club soda, please?
Oh,
why'd you not get
like that? Because I'm trying to we're doing a live broadcast, and I'm trying to be polite and all that.
Okay.
Sorry, was that too light or what? See,
it was very soft, wasn't it? You can say it. No, Dave, it's okay.
She said, "Let me mention how much of an idiot this guy is." Thank you.
Let me talk about how soft he is.
Shut up, dude. That's terrible. Ouch. That was a little loud, Dave, for the third time today.
I turned on the mic just as he put it down. That's my fault.
You,
that is my fault.
Just killed my ears 10 times and then. Boof. That's all I hear. I used to be able to hear. Now I need hearing aids.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Don't give him a headset anymore. No, just kidding.
No, I'm always
otherwise, I'm going to have to do the good vibrations hearing test.
Time to end the show.
I don't know when we're going to see you again, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Are we doing a show next week?
Yeah, if you're available, I'm available. It's up to you, buddy. I always say I go with what my buddy thinks.
Okay.
If you got a shtick, then we got, we can't. But we got to do our grease soon, though. We will.
Yes, we do.
We go. We're working half days now, so we're going to take care of it.
Look at this guy.
Yep. Summer school starts Monday for me.
Brandon the Iceman Cone, David Halperin, we learned one thing today on this show: never take a romantic interest to go see Cocaine Bear. We'll see you all next week.